If you missed my unboxing video for the Sublimation Trend Box from Johnson's Plastics Plus for winter, then you may be seeing this Noel for the first time. I love this woodblock cutout because it's just nice, high quality wood painted. You can feel the weight when you're holding it, and it is thick enough to stand up on its own. This is definitely ideal when it comes to picking up a quick home decor item that people might shop for, because when you're decorating for holidays all the time, you don't want a lot of things that have to be mounted onto walls and are work to have to change out. This is so quick and easy to put out for the holidays, and it has the aluminum disc for the center, which we can personalize any way that we would like. There are a few different ways that you can market this, and it really would kind of depend on your customer base. I think that using this aluminum disc in the middle and sublimating it with a photo is a fantastic idea. Whether that's a family photo or maybe a memorial photo if someone has passed away, both are great options for this. Additionally, you can just choose to do something that's a little bit more generic that's Christmas or winter themed. And that's what we're going to do today. We're actually going to use a door hanger design, and we're just going to shrink it way down so that it fits on here. It's a door hanger design that doesn't have any text. So I think that it'll just have a nice effect on this wood block. So just the sublimation disc is what is sublimatable. We'll attach this when we're done and it's cooled using some E6000. You could potentially use hot glue if you wanted to as well, but I recommend either E6000 or even wood glue would be a good option for this since it is in fact wood. So all we need to do is get our measurements and then set up our design to print in Affinity Designer. So let's grab our ruler, our tape measure here. And we're going to try and make sure we're right in the center. And it looks like it is 3 11/16. Oops, sorry, turn it so you guys can see. 3 11/16. So we'll just do 3 3/4. That way we have that little bit of bleed space around the edge to work with. Now the design that we're using actually has a white edge, so we'll put another little border around the outside just so we have something to center everything with. If you are new to doing aluminum, it is extremely beginner friendly. This is one of those items that's just really quick to produce. It's very forgiving. So if you're a beginner, this is a great project for you because aluminum is just so quick and easy to do. So let's hop onto the computer and get our design set up to print on our Epson SureColor F570 Pro sublimation printer. Let's start by opening up a new document that is in the size and orientation of the page we will be printing on. Because this is a small item, I'm just going to print on standard letter size page. So we'll come to File, New, or New Document, and I'm going to select my letter size page. Now I also want to make sure the orientation is correct. My paper feeds this in portrait, so therefore I am selecting the portrait option. Underneath our color tab, we want to make sure that the color format is set to RGB/8 and the color profile is sRGB IEC 61966-2.1. This is the most current color profile for this color format for printing. Keep in mind that your ICC profile is when you actually go to print. That is not relative here. And the only people who shouldn't be using this profile or may not possibly be using this profile is those of you who are using a Mac that is a few years old. The older models of Mac tend to work best with the Adobe RGB 1998. This is simply because it's a little bit older. Mac is known for having some color format issues. So that is a workaround if you are not getting the color accuracy that you would like. But for the majority of us and everyone using a Windows computer, it is this color profile that you should be selecting with this format for sublimation. You can choose to have margins if you would like underneath the Margins tab, and underneath the Color tab, also make sure you have transparent background check marked. Now, if you're in version 1 of Affinity Designer, the document setup panel is slightly different, but you should be able to navigate it just the same or refer to some of our older videos to have a look at that. When everything is set, click Create. Now we're going to want to create 2 circles on our canvas. The first one is going to be that border circle. Since our design that we're using today has a white border, I won't actually be able to see it as like a bleed line reference when I print it. So I'm going to add just a second circle as a bleed line, and then my other circle will be where I clip my design in to make sure that it's fit for the substrate. We'll come to our ellipse tool in our tools panel and simply click and drag across your canvas. Next, we're going to come over to the color panel, and because my design is white, I can actually fill the filled circle with white. If your design does not have that white edge, just choose the no fill option. It doesn't really matter if you have a fill or not because it's not going to print white when we're printing sublimation, but I just went ahead and selected that. So you can choose white or you can choose the no fill option for the filled circle. For the open circle for our stroke, we're going to come to that stroke tab and we're just going to add a little bit of width so that we can see it. It doesn't need to be super thick. We just want enough that we can see it when it prints. Next, come down to your transform panel and we're going to adjust the size. You want to make sure that your aspect ratio is unlocked if your measurements are not exactly the same, which mine are not. So you shouldn't see any arms coming off of your broken link or your infinity symbol. So our measurement was 3 and just under 3 3/4 for our actual aluminum disc. So I'm going to go ahead and make this circle of 4 inches. So go ahead and just slide that over up on my canvas. Doesn't really matter where you put it, but I'm going to put it on the top. This way I can salvage the rest of the page to use for half printing or any kind of nozzle check printing that I might need. Now we're going to just duplicate this. So you can right click on that in your layers panel and select duplicate or hit Control or Command J. Next, on your color panel, you're going to come to that open circle and you're going to choose no fill, because we do not want any kind of fill on that inside or outside. Then you're going to come down to that transform panel. We want to make sure our aspect ratio is locked this time, and we're going to enter in our measurements, which we had that 3.75 that we decided we would just round up a little bit to make sure that we did have our design size big enough for full bleed. Now, even though you can't see that one circle, we're going to click and drag across and have both of them selected. You can see they're both selected in our layers panel. We can see our 2 circles on the screen and we're going to center them. So come up to your alignment tools. That's the icon that looks like the bar graph, and choose center and center. We're going to do selection bounds for both of them so that it stays where we put it on the canvas, and then just click apply. Now we just need to bring in our design. You're going to select your place image tool and then choose your design from your file explorer. I'm using this door hanger design that is available on my website of loveandshiplap.us because it's just kind of perfect for this. So when we see the downward arrow with the portal, I want to click and drag to cover most of the circle. Oops, try not to do that. If you one click it, it will import at the full size. So that wasn't quite what I meant to do. So let's try that again. All right. You want to click and drag, that way you don't end up importing it at the full size when you don't need it. The full size is meant for a door hanger, so it's like 15 or so inches, which is quite a bit bigger than we needed. Now we want this to be clipped inside of this smaller circle so that we can adjust the edges and get it how we would like. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so you can see this better. All right, select your design layer. And this would be any design. Like mine happens to be round, but maybe yours isn't round. Maybe you're using a photograph. Maybe you're using a digital paper background, whatever it is. We are going to select that layer and clip it inside of our ellipse. So simply hold down your cursor on the icon and drag it so that the name of the layer is right where your cursor is. So the name where it says ellipse is right where your cursor is, and it will clip inside. Now you're going to open up that drop-down menu, select your design layer, and then just adjust it a little bit so that it is where you want it to be. Now, if you're not 100% sure if you have it quite right, what you can actually do is right-click and rasterize. If you have a circle design, you can rasterize it, and then you can choose to adjust it. That'll get rid of any boundary box that you might have. You don't really have to do that with a circle design unless you happen to have a boundary box issue. So you can see mine came in just a little bit, and that would actually allow you to come in and manually adjust the size. But again, that's for a circle design since this is a circle template. If you don't have a circle design, you are just going to size it and adjust it within the ellipse as we have it clipped. So this one is fine as it is. I've got, it's just got this little bit of a white edge. That's what I wanted. That's part of the design, and I think that that will work. So we can see that everything is centered within that main ellipse. And therefore we are ready to print. It was really quick and easy to set this up. So if you need to have that outer edge, create that outer edge as a point of reference. But other than that, just make an ellipse that is the size of that disc, which ours was just under 3 3/4 inches, and fill it with your design. Clipping it in is going to give you the most flexibility to be able to resize it easily and adjust it how you would like. Next, we're going to send this off to print. So come to File, Print. You're going to select your printer from the drop-down menu, and then you're going to select Properties. Now, in your Properties panel or settings, it might say this is where you are going to choose anything that you need to print. Color adjustment, your page size, your ICC profile, all of that stuff is what you choose in your printer properties. Because I am using the Epson SureColor F570 Pro, I don't have to do anything other than select my paper type. So we're going to come up here and find our letter size. There it is. Portrait, okay. Source, auto sheet feeder, and it's already set to rigid. So we don't need to make any other adjustments here. It's going to print mirrored image. That's what we want. That is the default, but make sure that if yours is not the default, you have selected mirror image in your settings options. And if you want to print preview, you can choose that. I never worry about a print preview personally. So I'm just going to click OK and then OK again, and it will send it off to print. We're over here on Blue, the Fusion IQ. And aluminum is one of the substrates that does best when you do it face down with your transfer facing up. So a little bit different than most of the other items that we sublimate. So with that in mind, we want to put blow-up paper on the bottom and on the top. Because this is small, I usually just take a piece of blow-up paper and fold it over top just in half. I find that makes it nice and easy. So we just need our transfer, which I already have printed and ready for us. So we're sublimating the white side of this. There is no film on it that I can tell. I gave it a good scratch and nothing came up. So we're going to assume there's no film. If you ever are not sure and you find out later on that there is a film, you will see that your design looks very grainy and doesn't have good transfer. So that's just a little tidbit for you. So I just kind of pushed it against the plat in there to see if anything would peel back. Nothing. So I'm assuming there is no film on this aluminum. Most of the time there is film on aluminum, so it's good to just be aware. I find that smaller items often don't have a film. So again, just something to keep in mind. So we're just going to center this right on our transfer. And I'm really eyeballing it here. Since I have a white border, I've got, a little room for forgiveness. I think that looks pretty good. So once you're all set, you can add 1 or 2 pieces of heat tape just to secure it. I always like to rub along the edge with my nail and let it extend out. One thing is you want to be careful with aluminum about wrapping heat tape around the other side because sometimes that can cause an uneven transfer. So try and stick to this method as much as possible. I always rub this with my fingernails right along the edge just to make sure we have nice flush, and that way if we have to move it, it's fine. Always good practice to put things in the middle of your heat press. So we got that, and we'll slide this on back. So just our pressure there. All right. So we are doing this for 400 degrees for 50 seconds. Your pressure should be medium, erring on the side of firm. So this I had a little bit higher pressure because I had done thicker aluminum the last time, but like a 5-6 if you're using a digital pressure gauge. Something that would be about in the medium is good for this project. We're gonna want some heat gloves because it will be very toasty when we open up our heat press here. So like I said, this is a really quick project. Doesn't take long at all to get this all together. As you can see, we've got 50 seconds, very quick. Let's bring you guys on down. And go ahead and peel this on back. Try to be careful with aluminum. You don't want to accidentally bend it, especially with something like this that's thinner. So I'm just peeling this off a little bit. There we go. Now my paper did stick a little bit. If your paper ever sticks, you can just rub it with cool water and it will come off. Or you can just kind of pull it with your fingernail, which is all that I'm doing on a little piece that just stuck. So I just have to laugh because it turns out that there was film on this, and that is why my paper stuck. A lot of times your paper will stick if there is film, but the good news is that you can usually peel the film off and your transfer was just fine. So just a good reason to like triple check that you have gotten any film off that's on it. Like I said, most of the time aluminum does have film. I had tried to like nudge this with my nail, heated it. It did not come up for me, but there it is. We still got a fantastic transfer. So let's go ahead and apply this to our Noel cutout sign. Here's another close-up of our snowman. He looks great, even though, again, that film was still on there and I did not realize it. But as you can see, it transferred without issue. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and adhere this to our Noel sign. Now you could use hot glue, you could get some 3M stickers, or I'm just gonna use E6000 because I have it on hand. I'm not a big fan of E6000 because I hate how sticky it is. That just like irks me to no end. So I am actually gonna put 2 little pieces of double-sided tape along with the E6000, just so it can be sort of held into place while that E6000 fully cures, because that does take a few hours, I think. Seems like it takes forever. So I'm gonna put my I'm gonna put my double-sided tape right in the middle, and I'll kind of put my E6000 around the edges, and that should give me all that I need. This is just regular double-sided tape, nothing special. And you don't need to go heavy on the E6000. We don't want it to ooze out everywhere. We just want, you know, enough to secure this. And also give us a little wiggle room if we need to move it. All right. So that should be good. And then let's go ahead and apply this right in the middle. I'm trying to look around the camera. I want to get it as close to perfect on the first try. You could choose to put like a little pencil mark. That probably would have been a good move. Okay, I think that we are good. Good. And because we are using that E6000, it doesn't dry immediately. We have a little room to sort of wiggle it around some, make sure we're totally happy with it. Okay, I think that that is nice and perfectly centered. So give us a good press. That E6000 does take some time to dry. You may want to put like a weight on this if you're not sure if it'll totally bond otherwise. I would just flip it over like this and put a weight on it. But other than that, this is ready to go. Once it's completely dried and you're sure that your center disc is properly applied, you can go ahead and stick it right back into the box. It's ready for shipping, gifting, whatever it is that your intended plan is. So I love this home decor item. I think that it's just so fun and absolutely beautiful product from Johnson's Plastics Plus. Be sure to check out our marketing guide if you are a subscriber to the That mobile learning library app to get some ideas for how to market this, product descriptions, keywords, and more. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great rest of your day.